Hello boys and girls, how are you all? I hope you're well. Today I'm going to show you how to make poppies. We're going to be making poppies as a way to commemorate ANZAC Day, which is on the 25th of April, which is this weekend in Australia. And ANZAC Day is a day that we remember all of the people who've gone away to war from Australia and New Zealand, and we commemorate them. Things like making poppies or making ANZAC biscuits is a really lovely thing for families to do together, and I'm hoping that you can have a play around at home and make some poppies of your own. I'd love to see them if you do. Today I'm going to show you how to make two different types of poppies. One is from tissue paper. It's nice and floaty and paper-like and looks a lot like what a real poppy looks like. And the other is from paper, because often people don't have tissue paper in the house, so I had to go and buy some. And this is lovely for children to work with because paper's a lot easier to work with. So depending on what you've got at home and what you'd prefer to make, you can make either of these. The instructions will be the same. To make an ANZAC poppy, you will need some red paper. I've got tissue paper or just red paper. If you haven't got red paper, just some white paper, which you can colour in red. You'll need some black paper, and if you haven't got black, once again, you can just use white and colour it in. You'll need some scissors and some glue. So you start by folding your paper in half, and then you need to cut down that middle line there. And then you need to fold it in half again. That is going to be your big petal. And this one here you fold it into three like this. And they're going to be your little petals for the middle. Let's start with the big ones. You need to draw the petals so that you know where to cut them out. Now you don't want them too big, they need to come to about here. And they're going to look like rabbit ears, a little bit. Can you see that? There we have 5 different petals. And then here we're going to do the same, but they're going to be smaller. So 3 that size, and then three a little bit smaller again. They don't have to be perfect, obviously. They're just a guide for while you're cutting out. So now you can see we've got all our petals, all different sizes. Now that you've cut all those petals out, you should have 3 different sizes, a large one, a medium one, and a small one, and they're going to make our flower. You will also have a couple of pieces that are just individual petals, and we'll be using those as well. Your next step is to glue all the petals together. This is the fun part. You can either use a glue stick, or if you've got craft glue, you can use that depending on what you're working with. And we're going to layer them up and I'll show you how to do that. Now you can see I've sorted my petals into big, medium and small. And then I've got a couple of loose petals over here. So we start with a big petal. You put a little bit of glue in the middle, pick up another big petal and stick it across like this. And then you do it again. And again, Get the picture? You're creating a crisscross. And then we keep going. And then we finish with the smaller ones. So now we have this beautiful layer of flowers, and can you see, because there's so many layers, it doesn't matter if when you cut them out they're a bit wonky, because they all make up this really beautiful shape. And then what you can start to do is kind of start squeezing it in so it looks like it's folding into itself. You might get these ones and bend them up a bit. Not too much, just enough to give it a bit of life. So now you've got your flower with all the layers. If you've made it with paper, it'll look stiff. If you've made it with tissue paper, it'll look a bit floppy. I put a hard piece of paper circle on the back to kind of help secure that one. Now we need to make the little black part in the center. You can make this center two ways. You can use some black paper to cut out a little circle, or you can just use some white paper and then colour it in black with a texter or pencil, whatever you've got handy. Cutting out circles can sometimes be a little bit tricky. You might need some help, but I think they're a bit of fun because you put your scissors in like this, so you cut a little, tiny little snip, and then you just move the paper around. And once again, it doesn't matter if it's a bit wonky, because all flowers are different. It's got my little circle there, and I'm going to stick that right there in the middle, and all of a sudden it starts to look more like a flower, doesn't it? And then the final step is to put these little squiggly lines from the middle of the petal out. You might even be able to ask your mum and dad if they could show you a picture of a real poppy, and then you'll be able to see what they look like. I would love to see what you've created. Look at that. So, are you feeling proud? If you've been following along with me, you now should have your very own poppy. I've made a couple, and it doesn't take long. It's lovely to do. I'd love to see any photos of poppies that you make. Ask your mum or dad or carer to send them through to me, and have a wonderful time commemorating an ANZAC Day with your families. Bye-bye.